I think we need to stop using the word sin. I just don't think it's the right word anymore. Evangelicals, fire up your heretic engine. Hi, I'm Jeremy. I'm a deep skeptic, also a pastor. So when I was growing up in evangelicalism, the word sin was used to be a horrible, horrible, scary thing. It's going to send you to hell no matter what. And you needed to be really careful. You needed to be careful because as the pastors talked, you realized you could accidentally sin. You could do things that were just sort of a normal part of life, things that humans do, and you would be committing a sin. Like when I was a teenager, if I looked at a girl and I found her physically attractive, oh my gosh, I was lusting, and that was dangerous because it was a sin. So sin was used to create guilt and shame within me and within all of the people that were going to my churches and hearing the pastors talk about the dangers and the fear that you needed to have around sin. Because again, eternal conscious punishment, burning in hell, was not the fate that you wanted for yourself eternally or in the afterlife. And the problem is, that's just not what the word sin means in the Bible. The Bible is written in Hebrew and Greek, and the word for sin means missing the mark or failure to reaching your goal. That's really different. That has a very different connotation. And I think the way we express that in the modern world is getting off track, right? Not being the person that you want to be, not doing the things that you want to do, right? And getting off track is not scary. It doesn't induce fear and guilt, and it can't be used to control you. Which, of course, is not very useful if you're trying to control people and manipulate them into giving you money. But that idea is actually really useful. And if we replace the word sin with getting off track, all of a sudden this religious tradition that grows out of the Christian Bible becomes very useful to people's everyday life. Like verses like this, Hebrews 12, 1 and 2. Since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off the weight and the sin that clings so close to us and run the race with perseverance set out for us. Now, this is really helpful because this great cloud of witnesses is all the people in our life, both alive and that have gone before us, especially the ones that have gone before us. And what it's saying is that if we get off track, like we're off track, not being the person that we want to be, we don't have to figure out exactly what we have to do. Instead, we can look at the examples of other people who have gotten off track and what they did, how they lived their lives in a way that helped them stay on track. And so when we let go of that sin and instead look to these people for examples, we can get back on track. We can be the people we want to be. Or how about this one? 1 John 1:9. If we confess our sins, he who is faithful and just will forgive us our sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. This talks about getting off track as something that we can end up allowing to define us, right? When we're off track, and especially when we've been off track for a while, we'll start to think that this is who we are, that this is the person we are, and this is the track that we have to stay on. But it's just not. And the idea here is that in this religious perspective is that God will help us reset, and that we don't have to identify as our mistakes. We don't have to identify those as the core of who we are. Instead, we can let go of those things and define ourselves based on the best version of ourselves that we want to be. And when we let go of that as our identity, that empowers us to be that person. Or Romans 6:12 that says, therefore, do not let sin exercise dominion over your mortal bodies, making you obey their passions. The idea is that there are things that our bodies end up desiring that are not really helpful for us, right? There are people that just allow their cravings, their physical cravings, to make them get off track. And the idea here is to say, pay attention to those cravings, to the sort of physical things that are getting you off track, and focus on not paying as much attention to them, and instead paying attention to the person that you want to be and trying to stay on that track. Just beware of the ways that your body can actually get you off track. Do you see how helpful and powerful that is? All of a sudden, when you just change the one word to phrase it in a way that conveys its actual meaning in our modern language, all of a sudden, this religious tradition can be incredibly helpful, whether or not you believe in God.